Obviously COVID hasn't gone away. It's still very much a factor in how we prepare in the week and how we prepare and even travel to games. But thankfully, due to the vaccination centre at Ashton Gate, we were the first club to have above 85% of our players and staff fully vaccinated. 85% was the level that Prem Rugby set to start to, I guess, unravel some of the pre-COVID measures. Testing is still in place. We do it above the level that's required, so everybody that trains in the environment, they test before they come in. But fundamentally, you'll have seen a relaxation in some of our measures and some of our distancing and use of masks, and it's made training and even some of our game experience feel a little bit more like pre-COVID days. Unfortunately, injury is a natural consequence of training hard and playing hard, and ironically, avoiding injury is actually quite straightforward. You simply don't do either. You don't compete to play hard, you don't train hard. So there is an inevitability to injury, and we try to keep the severity of that down. But when the inevitable does happen, and I accept that injury can often shape the narrative of the week, there could be frustrations around some of our more recognisable players not being available. But this is where Pat is so good to work with, is that he sets a stall that if you don't train, you don't play, and that allows us to shape the week. And very often when we're publishing an unavailability list, some of those players that are unavailable are only so because they didn't train from the beginning of the week. We want players to train all week to perform at the weekend. And once we establish that you're unavailable, it's about working back to when you can return to train, and we take selection from there. I think what's different about rugby, certainly even in the last 5 years, is that where you maybe would avoid training in the week and see how the player goes at the weekend, we try to use our replacements tactfully. We don't want players who fundamentally were never fit walking off early in the game. We want to use our replacements to enhance the game. And the expectation around returning from injuries that we return to perform is that you're above or at least level to the baseline that you were pre-injury. Simply returning and trying to play your way into performance is not something we accept anymore. I think if you look at the rate of injury in rugby in general, looking at it as a global game, rugby union is one of the most injurious field sports in the world. Whilst it's a safe game and catastrophic injury is rare, it does have a high attrition rate. Where it differs to football is obviously the collision aspect. Where it differs to American football is the higher running demand. It's when you combine those two, there definitely is a high attrition rate in rugby, and we see that particularly in the Premiership, and we're no different.